Hello, and welcome to this lesson on calculating the numbers of protons, neutrons, and electrons in simple ions. In today's lesson, we will firstly learn how to determine the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in an ion, given the atomic number and mass number of the atom that forms it. Then we will move on to understand how to differentiate between neutral atoms and ions in terms of their electron counts. To calculate the numbers of protons, neutrons, and electrons in simple ions, we will follow these systematic steps. First, the atomic number of an atom represents the number of protons found in the nucleus. Since the atomic number is unique to each element, it will always indicate the number of protons. Protons carry a positive charge. Next, the mass number of an atom is the sum of its protons and neutrons. Therefore, to find the number of neutrons, simply subtract the atomic number from the mass number. Neutrons are neutral, meaning they have no charge. In a neutral atom, the number of electrons is equal to the number of protons, as the positive and negative charges balance each other out. Ions are atoms that have lost or gained electrons, resulting in a net charge. To calculate the number of electrons, use the equation number of electrons equals atomic number minus charge. For positively charged ions, known as cations, the number of electrons is less than the number of protons. For negatively charged ions, known as anions, the number of electrons is greater than the number of protons. Let's work through an example with a positive calcium ion. The atomic number is 20, the mass number is 40, and the charge is +2. From this information, we can determine the number of each subatomic particle. The atomic number of calcium is 20, so there are 20 protons. The mass number minus the atomic number is 40 minus 20, which gives us 20 neutrons. The calcium ion has a +2 charge. Since this is a positive charge, this indicates it has lost 2 electrons and now has more protons than electrons. Therefore, the number of electrons is atomic number minus charge, which is 20 minus 2, which equals 18 electrons. By following these steps, we can accurately determine the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in simple ions. This method not only helps us to understand the composition of ions, but also their chemical behavior and interactions. Keep practicing with different elements and their ions to master this technique. Let's dive into some GCSE level questions to apply our understanding of calculating the numbers of protons, neutrons, and electrons in simple ions. Question 1. Determine the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in a sodium plus ion, given that its atomic number is 11 and its mass number is 23. We'll start with protons. The atomic number of sodium is 11, so there are 11 protons. Next, neutrons. The mass number minus the atomic number is 23 minus 11, which gives us 12 neutrons. Finally, let's look at the electrons. Since the sodium ion has a +1 charge, it has lost 1 electron. Use the formula for the number of electrons equals the atomic number minus the charge, which is 11 minus 1, which gives us 10 electrons. Question 2. Determine the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in a negative chlorine ion, given that its atomic number is 17 and its mass number is 35. The atomic number of chlorine is 17, so there are 17 protons. Moving on to neutrons. The mass number minus the atomic number is 35 minus 17, which gives us 18 neutrons. Finally, electrons. Since the chlorine ion has a -1 charge, it has gained 1 electron. Therefore, the number of electrons is atomic number minus charge, which is 17 minus -1, which equals 18 electrons. Question 3. Determine the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in an oxygen 2- ion, given that its atomic number is 8 and its mass number is 16. The atomic number of oxygen is 8, so there are 8 protons. Next, the mass number minus the atomic number is 16 minus 8, which gives us 8 neutrons. Since the oxygen ion has a -2 charge, it has gained 2 electrons. Therefore, the number of electrons is the atomic number minus the charge, which is 8 minus -2, which gives 10 electrons. By practicing with these examples, you'll become proficient in determining the numbers of protons, neutrons, and electrons in various ions. In today's lesson, we delved into the process of calculating the numbers of protons, neutrons, and electrons in simple ions, given the atomic number and mass number of the atom that forms them. We also clarified the difference between neutral atoms and ions in terms of their electron counts. Neutral atoms have an equal number of protons and electrons, balancing their positive and negative charges. In contrast, ions are atoms that have gained or lost electrons, resulting in a net charge. For cations, which are positively charged ions, the number of electrons is less than the number of protons. For anions, which are negatively charged ions, the number of electrons is greater than the number of protons.